evening and good to have you with us in this edition of the Urban Debate. Tonight we start off with the big focus on vaccine. Viewers, it's been a week now. With the end of the vaccine drive today, we mark officially one full week of India's vaccination drive phase 1. Over 13 lakh healthcare workers were given the vaccine in the first 1 week. Over 13 lakh. Now that's way lower than what the central government wants and what the state governments had prepared for. And we'll get into that in just a bit. But in the light of this and the huge controversy around efficacy of vaccines, safety of the vaccines and the hesitancy that people are showing, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while interacting with beneficiaries of vaccines today, reassured that the vaccines are being rolled out only after clearances by scientists. In fact, he said that the vaccines are fully tested and no major side effects have been reported so far. It's the Prime Minister who's come out himself to try and allay the concerns after repeated comments that were made by the central government, Niti Aayog and even the Health Minister. Let's play out an excerpt of Prime Minister's comment before we move further.
भाई वैज्ञानिक जो कहेंगे वही हम तो करेंगे। ये हम पॉलिटिकल लोगों का काम नहीं है कि हम तय करें। और जैसे ही हमारे सब वैज्ञानिक और उसकी प्रोसेस सब पूरा होकर के आया तो फिर हमने कहा चलो भाई अब शुरू कहाँ से करें। तो हमने सबसे पहले उन लोगों के लिए सोचा जिनको रोजमर्रा पेशेंट से ही काम पड़ता है। कई चरणों में ये तय किया गया है कि वैक्सीन का कोई बड़ा साइड इफेक्ट नहीं है, तपास किया गया है। इसलिए देशवासी अपने वैज्ञानिक पर, डॉक्टर्स पर भरोसा कर रहे हैं।
So that's the Prime Minister's attempt. In fact, even in some states, the leaders themselves are trying to allay the concerns. For example, the Tamil Nadu Health Minister, Vijay Bhaskar, took the co-vaccine shot in Chennai today, in an attempt and hope that this will allay the concerns over co-vaccine. And I am specifically giving you this example because if you see, we are seeing reports of vaccine hesitancy and concerns about co-vaccine by medical fraternity and healthcare workers from the states of Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. Data also shows that there is a larger hesitancy for co-vaccine than Covishield. More people are willing to take the Covishield than co-vaccine in Maharashtra, in Delhi, in Gurugram. So in several parts of our country, this is now a fact visible in the data we are collecting. In the achieved target of for Covishield versus Covaxin, you can see the difference which is there. Now, while the turnout or the achieved targets for both isn't ideal, and one would hope it goes up for both, but you can see that there is a difference even between the two vaccines. And specific statements and comments from Tamil Nadu State Association of Doctors, from RMO doctors in Delhi, from doctors in Gurugram, from doctors in 6 different districts in Karnataka, there have been issues that have been raised. So the question we are going to be asking tonight is, how do we tackle this problem? Do we just have to wait for more data from Covaxin? Do we have to wait to see how the first set of beneficiaries respond and hope that that gives the confidence and instill the confidence in other people? Or do we lead by example? Do the central ministers and the state ministers, the state chief ministers, the state health ministers lead by example and say that, look here, we are getting the Covaxin, we are getting our vaccine shot, there is nothing for you to be afraid of. What else can the states do? We will also talk about that. Let's say good evening to the panelists who are joining us right now. Charu Pragya, spokesperson for the BJP. Khaliqur Rahman, spokesperson for the TRS. Dr. Zaid Nasir Hussain, Member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha and Congress National Spokesperson. Satyaprakash, leader of the JDU. Dr. Naveen Thakur, Executive Director of International Pediatric Association, joining us this evening. Thank you to all of you for being with us. I actually want to start off with Charu Pragya. Charu Pragya, yes, initially the intent was to say that no leader should cut the line, should jump the line, should ask for favors when it comes to vaccine. So we will all go as per our own terms. But there is a growing sense that maybe we need to instill confidence in people, and who better to do that than our leaders?
Absolutely, Tanvi. And it is for that very same reason that Prime Minister Modi has decided that in the second phase of vaccination, the Prime Minister himself, the cabinet at the center, the chief ministers and several ministers from the states will get vaccinated as a measure of building confidence in the Indian public. Not just our political leaders, there will be celebrities, there will be faith leaders, sports stars, and other influencers who will get vaccinated, and those who can talk about vaccination in a very clear manner. See, COVID-19 is a very new thing for all of us. This vaccination is a very new thing for all of us. And for most people, the experience of seeing a new disease, seeing a vaccination being developed, and then the process of vaccination being started, it's all very new and understandably very daunting. But the government is doing all it can to build this confidence in its public, to make sure Indians remain protected, not just Indians, as many of our neighboring countries remain protected as we can manage to help and support with these vaccines. And I think these measures are going to go a very long way. Also, if you look at the figures of people who have already been vaccinated, more than 2 lakh people in the first phase, it's the highest in the world. So maybe we are falling a little short of the aim that we had. We are still doing extremely well on a global level of measurement, and it's only going to get better. And, on a lighter note, I also would like to say that we have a habit of seeing how something is working for others before we want to acquire it for ourselves, whether it's a new laptop or a mobile phone or a medicine. Usually we have people who tell us, oh, this particular thing does well. If you have a headache, why don't you try this tablet, so on and so forth. So I'm very confident that after this first phase and the comfort that people find themselves in after the first phase, the second phase will go much better.
No, I agree with you. Fair enough. That's an interesting point that you're making, Charu.
Can I just add one more quick thing? People sometimes say that there are side effects to this vaccination. Let me make it very clear that the medical health experts have said that there are no serious side effects. And we should also remember that when we take a child also for vaccination, the pediatrician will always tell us your child might have fever for a day, your child might feel a little tired and slow for a day, and that's absolutely perfectly normal.
No, okay, I understand what you're saying about the hesitancy part, that when we see somebody else, then we also do that. But it's not the same in this case, because your phase 1 is 3 crore healthcare workers. Many of them, are extremely well versed with the nuances of medicine, vaccine, what's involved, the process. Now, it's a peculiar situation, Charu, and this is what medical experts one of the other days on our panel was saying, that we have the politicians trying to convince them that this vaccine is safe, instead of the other way around, with the medical experts trying to convince everybody else that the vaccine is safe. So we can't wait for phase 2. Phase 1, these 3 crore healthcare workers, many of them also have to be convinced.
No, I agree with you. And yes, you're right. It is the healthcare workers who understand medicine and its implication. But like I said, because it's a new medicine, because it's a new vaccine, it is the scientists that we have to rely on. And we have to believe that the Indian scientists have done exceedingly well in coming up with these vaccines in record time. There has been clinical trials which have been in place. And the way these vaccines have been received by the scientific community, been approved by the scientific community, is fantastic. It's an achievement for India, in fact. And as our Prime Minister also said, we have to go by what the scientists are endorsing. This is their field of work. And whether it is healthcare workers or nurses or doctors, we have to understand that this is an advancement of science and we have to play a role in taking it ahead.
Let me bring in our other panelists as well, because this can't be just something that the BJP at the center or this BJP governed states do. We need everybody to come in here together. So we need to hear from everybody else as well. Mr. Khaliqur Rahman, let me ask you, what is your party's view? Can we see the chief ministers and the state ministers asking that they be given the vaccine first so that people get some more confidence?
See, as for the hesitancy part is concerned, in fact, because it is not just only in India, but we have also seen, this happening in the other countries. But as you very rightly said, because we have to, instill confidence especially, among the people with regard to the efficacy of the vaccine, with regard to the safety of the vaccine. And as my dear friend from the BJP said, that it is basically, the scientists whom we have to rely on when it comes to the safety. But as the leaders, definitely, we have to come forward and we have to lead by example. But our honorable Prime Minister, he had in fact made the statement saying that because let the 3 crore health workers, the 3 crore frontline warriors be first, given this vaccine, so that because they are the people who are actually, on the field, who are day in and day out, meeting the patients and treating the patients. So because once they are vaccinated, then I think, more than the politicians, it is the doctors, it is the health workers who can instill more confidence among the people. But yes, because as far the politicians are concerned, they are the leaders, they lead the, the communities, they lead the country, and they should also be considered to be vaccinated. I mean, this is what I personally feel, and I'm sure the other panelists also on this debate would agree with me. But as for the efficacy of the vaccine is concerned, that in fact will have to wait, as everyone has said. But our scientists have done a great job. I must salute them. I must congratulate them, because it's within a very short span of time. Because I think this is the vaccine which has in fact been developed in the shortest span of time in the history. So, but the circumstances also demanded so. So that is the reason our scientists have worked day in and day out.
No,
And,
so I absolutely, Mr. Rahman, I don't think there is any doubt or anybody who's raising questions on the capabilities and the skill and the expertise of our scientists or even our own Made in India vaccines. But clearly on ground, what we are seeing is something that needs to be addressed. If we go at this pace of 13 lakh or 14 lakh, people being vaccinated every week, then we're going to take a really, really long time to even get a majority of our country vaccinated. It's going to take us years together. So we have to speed it up. And we can't speed it up if people are not willing to take the vaccine. So we have to, assure them, allay their fears. What can be done? Dr. Saeed Nasir Hussain, what can be done? Shouldn't the state governments, shouldn't the Chief Minister of Punjab, Captain Amrinder Singh, step up and say, let's take the vaccine first?
Tanvi, let me first take this opportunity of saluting all the scientists, researchers, chemists, all those workers in the laboratories who have developed this COVID vaccine in a record time. And I think we should bow to them, we should salute them as a country. But the point is, this country has also fought similar kinds of situations in the past, especially if you take after 1947 till now, whether it was tuberculosis, whether it was cholera, smallpox, so on and so forth. There's so much of, so many issues were there in this country. The people of this country, along with the politicians and the health workers have fought it. Now, as you clearly spelled it out, what is more important? The vaccine is ready. Now, at this speed, a country of 135 crore people cannot be vaccinated overnight. It will take a huge lot of time. If the pace is, if it is not if we have to speed up, we have to have say about 50 lakhs or 1 crore people getting vaccinated every day. Then how can we do this? You can only do this if you boost the confidence of the people. There will always be misgivings about the side effects. There will always be confusion. There will always be rumors that there's a phase 2 or phase 3 trials are not over, etc., and so on and so forth. So the political leadership, along with the health workers, should step in and boost the confidence of the people. Now it has been told, I am a member of parliament, that before 28, all the members of parliament should get vaccinated. I mean, and I think that includes the ministers and the prime minister of the country, because they're all members of the parliament. And then similarly, all the MLAs, MLCs, and the chief ministers can step in and say, no, we are going to get vaccinated first to boost the confidence of the people of this country.
Okay.
So that is not at all an issue. I think the government should come out with some sort of a plan how we can build up the confidence, how we can see that all the people are vaccinated in a record time, as our researchers and scientists have produced this vaccine in record time.
Okay, Charu Pragya, would you like to respond to that? Because now we've had two panelists whom both of them have said that yes, the leaders should lead by example, but that would need a change in policy right now. And you're saying you're going to do that in phase 2.
So, Tanvi, the decision to only vaccinate the frontline workers in phase 1 was for their protection. It was not for any other reason. Since we have a limited number of vaccines getting produced in every phase, and these vaccines need to go to the people who need it the most, this is how it was planned out. But seeing the way maybe the reception of these vaccines is being taken by our citizens, Prime Minister Modi has immediately said that he will get vaccinated along with his Council of Ministers, the members of Parliament, as soon as phase 2. But
No, but I don't. That's not a change in plan. I'm sorry, you keep making it sound like that's a great big decision that has been taken. That's as per rules. Now, unless you think that this people of this country don't know the rules, phase 2 of vaccination is meant for people above the age of 50, along with people with serious comorbidities. All of our cabinet members and our Prime Minister will be eligible by default. What's the big deal here?
So, Tanvi, there are already people in the first phase who've gotten vaccinated, like Dr. Guleria of AIIMS, like several other HODs in different hospitals around the country. So, we need to remember that these eminent people, these doctors who are leading the country, are getting vaccinated, and they understand the benefits of getting vaccinated at the right point of time. We have to also understand our resources of these vaccines are limited, and they need to go to people who need it the most. That being said, for confidence building, I've already said, whether it is political leaders or social leaders or celebrities, everyone will be stepping in to make sure that the correct message is sent out amongst Indians.
Okay, in fact, let me read this out, and I want to again highlight this data, and I cannot emphasize on this enough. The ministers, chief ministers, Prime Minister, cabinet ministers, most of them, large percentage of them, will be automatically eligible in phase 2. That's what the rules say. That's not a change in decision in the light of the fact that, oh, there is vaccine hesitancy. Now, if we have to fix this problem, we need to do beyond that is the question that I'm asking right now. For example, take a look at the statistics in Maharashtra. The difference which is there as far as the Covishield target achievement is concerned versus Covaxin. This is the difference in Maharashtra, 61% for Covishield, 49% for Covaxin. If you take a look at Tamil Nadu, another state where we've actually taken data now over 6 sessions, 6 vaccine sessions. On an average, Covishield target achievement is 43% and Covaxin is 25%. Now, keep in mind, a larger number of Covishield doses are being given out in comparison to Covaxin, which is why I'm giving you percentage numbers as a comparison here and not just absolute numbers, but this is what on ground medical experts are telling us. Now, this is not a reflection to say the vaccine isn't safe. The vaccine is safe. Vaccine in clinical trial 1 and 2 has shown data with nothing which is dangerous, but its phase 3 trial is still on and that data isn't available. So, maybe people have questions about that. So, what do you do? That's the big question then. What do we do in such a scenario? Mr. Satya Prakash, should we not come up with a plan, emergency plan now? We can't wait for 3 more months for the next phase.
You know, you started this debate that the leaders of this nation should be vaccinated first. If suppose such situation would have happened, the leaders could have vaccinated, then the question would have arisen by the media that, oh, they left the people at the secondary stage. Understand the seriousness of this vaccination program. The director of the AIIMS and the health minister of India got vaccinated, and they preferred that the safety of the health worker first and the people again. So there should not be, casting doubt on such kind of vaccination program at large, because the government of India and the other states, considering the safety of the people, and the scientist has appealed again and again, the vaccination program of India particularly is completely safe. There is no doubt about it. And it is the responsibility of media as well, that if some political leader at the first stage could not vaccinate themselves, it doesn't mean that they are not considering the safety of the people. So understand the seriousness of the issue. Media should be responsible first that this vaccine is safe. Health minister got vaccinated. The director of AIMS vaccinated first time. And every health worker given the priorities over other people. So there is a policy for that. If the prime minister or other leader is not get vaccinated,
no, Mr. Satyaprakash, I think you've misunderstood what I said.
Yeah.
I agree with you, and for sure, leave the media or other people. I'm very sure some of the opposition parties would have come out and said, oh, look, you are taking it first before anybody else. That's fine. I see merit in what you decided to do when you started this program. 1 week later, Mr. Satyaprakash, only 13 lakh people have been vaccinated. We need to step it up in a very, very big way. We have the facilities, we have the centers, we have targets set. The government, state government, central government only set these targets. I haven't set these targets. You're not able to meet those targets. You're barely able to go beyond 60% in the best of the performing states. What is your solution to that then? Please tell me.
Definitely, all the government is working towards that. Don't worry at all regarding that, the speed up process of the vaccination. First of all, limited capacity and priority of other people on certain section of people is there in the policy. So as per the policy, this will be achieved. It has just started. So wait for some time. You know, 125 crore of people are there to get vaccinated.
So what is what? Okay. So what is Bihar government's plan? What is your party's plan to spread awareness and to allay the fears? Please tell me.
In a media debate, you are expecting to give complete rolling out of vaccination program of Bihar in a particular 2 minutes of time. You saw the thing that in Bihar it started with the doctors, it started with the health workers. You saw that, and government is doing well regarding that.
No, then you don't have a plan. Are you saying you don't have a plan to increase vaccine awareness?
Cast doubt. Yeah, definitely there are awareness program on the daily
What is the
basis.
plan?
Everybody is appealing to the people that as per the policy of the vaccination, they should come and get vaccinated. If it is not, you cannot compel people to get vaccinated. You can make them aware. So simply when the
I'm asking you that, Satyaprakash, what is your campaign for plan? What is the plan to create awareness?
I am telling you, Tanvi, you are casting doubts over the vaccination program, which is as per the policy.
Please don't twist my words at all. Please don't twist my words at all. I am here to sit and debate, Mr. Satyaprakash, how we can make more people aware so that they're not concerned about the vaccine. Don't try to mislead my viewers by saying anything else. You have to tell me as the state government, what is your plan to increase awareness about the vaccine so more people are willing to take the vaccine?
Definitely, there is so many campaign going on at all. Every time there is an appeal to the people by the leaders, by the scientists, by the doctors. What we can do except this? Can we go door to door to ask the people get vaccinated? If people will away from vaccination, definitely we will do that. But at the initial stage of time, one has to prioritize that who should be vaccinated first. Definitely the health workers should be vaccinated first because they come in front of treating the people in the hospital. Second, what you were just telling that at the second phase, the age group, there is a defined age group, they will be vaccinated. So wait for the policy, complete rollout of the policy. Don't cast doubt and don't create any kind of, aspersion in the mind or apprehension in the minds of people. Very fine, people, this vaccine is safe. The director of the AIMS and the health minister of India got vaccinated first, and this is the best policy that they get the confidence of the people. They prove that this vaccination is safe. In a different part of the world, definitely there was problem related, different news coming out, this vaccination killed so many people, this vaccination is like that. But in India so far, it is good going on, and don't cast doubt and create confidence in the people. It is the duty of the media.
I don't need lectures from you, Mr. Satyaprakash, on how to do my job. I am asking you questions on how you are doing your job. If you don't have specific answers, let me tell my viewers what the central government is doing. And together with some of the state governments, this is what has been done. Mr. Satyaprakash, I don't need lectures from you on how to do my job, please. You don't need to tell me that. I will in fact tell our viewers myself what the government is doing to fight vaccine hesitancy, something that the state governments and their party representatives should actually know. Information, education and a communication campaign is being launched by the centre. The centre has now decided that on-the-spot registrations will be allowed. People whose names are not on the list, but if they turn up, they will be vaccinated, and later on their data will be updated. This is also being done to ensure more people get vaccine and they're not turned away. They've also said that they will create more session sites. This was the plan that now has to be increased, that now has to speed up. If you're going to open more centers, take it from 3,000 to 6,000 centers, the timeline for doing this needs to come down. Only then will you be able to reach out to more people. Planning, scheduling sessions so the entire week has been enabled on the app, and a digital media package with vaccinated experts' messages are being sent across. Yet, we've seen the biggest of the medical experts get the vaccine. People clearly still have concerns. Medical fraternity has concerns. I'm not even talking about the common man right now. How do we fix that problem? I'm simply asking that question, Dr. Naveen Thakkar. How do we make people more aware and confident about these vaccines?
Thank you, Tanvi. So the first thing we must understand that we have one pandemic and another one is infodemic, which is abundance of information, and this was expected. First thing is that these database of health workers, which is 1 crore, was collected from the government system and private facilities by asking to send data which was few months back. Then this data was entered, and when we started program on 16, and let me tell you the viewers, I was fortunate to have the first person in Gujarat to get vaccinated in front of Minister and full media. And because I believe that vaccine is safe. So this started, and there were some problems in the app. And then, as you said, now lot of corrective action has been, taken, and that gradually the things are improving. But still, the first thing is acceptance. We must accept there is a hesitancy in medical professionals, and and in general public, because there are mainly people worried about the safety, and somehow we have been not able to communicate. See, days are gone when you say I am a scientist and I am telling you this is safe. People, the Indian scientific community is very strong. They want to see the data, and I don't know why we have full data for Covishield. There is no issue. For Covaxin, we have safety data from phase 1, phase 2 trial, but also I can understand this is a double-blind study. You cannot, say the efficacy. You cannot open till a trigger point comes. But still, there is nobody, and I think that has been submitted to the authorities. Safety data. You may not know whether it is coming from placebo or that, but overall, we know that Covaxin is an inactivated vaccine. And as a person who we teach vaccinology, and we know this is an old technology of 200 years more old. And this is the inactivated vaccines are very safe. So if the data is available, why don't you make it available, safety data at least? See, the Covishield, they gave the interim data of efficacy from 11,500 participants from the 2 countries. But they gave the full safety data from the 3 countries and all the participants. So what is preventing us from publishing and putting that in public domain? Because our scientists, they want to see the data. So that is first thing. That if that can be done, then it will be, at least the scientific and medical community will be happy to see the safety data. Even if you say it is not coming only from it is overall, because I know it will be less. It is an inactivated vaccine. Hardly there will be any reactions. That is first thing. Now, efficacy, if you see, you have to be honest. The principle of risk communication and community engagement is honesty and transparency. If everybody is ready to believe the prime minister and scientists, but you cannot just say that I am telling this, so you believe this. So make this available, safety data. And Covaxin, if you see the leaflet, they are writing that efficacy data is not available. Why we are trying to defend them? They have very clearly written. But what do we know at this point of time? the similar inactivated vaccine from other parts of the world none of them have shown less than 50% efficacy, more than 60%, some even more. So we can say that until now, no vaccine, this virus is very vaccine friendly, and all the vaccines are showing very high efficacy, which
Right.
was not expected in the beginning. So we have to be transparent that at this point of time, we don't have efficacy data, but we know the similar vaccines, Sinovac, CoronaVac from China, Russia, other parts of the world have shown a good efficacy, reasonable efficacy. Then people will not, question, because personally, I know there is no question of safety of
So,
either
Dr.
the
Thakkar,
vaccine.
if I may just come in here, because I really appreciate the answer that you've presented, the comments that you've made, because you've shown that you have full faith in the vaccine. You yourself have gotten vaccinated, and you don't think there is any concern with the data, but you understand, and you're being, honest and upfront about the fact that you understand why there are concerns. That it cannot be denied that there are concerns, and the concerns are because of lack of data, which is in public domain, which is what anybody who's a believer of science would like to see as facts to be made available. Dr. Naveen Thakkar, then how did you convince yourself that without those facts, you still do know that this is safe? Because, a lot of our viewers don't understand what is the design of co-vaccine and why it's highly impossible that it will have any big detrimental effect.
So the first thing, it is a technology which is more than 200 year old, 215, 16 year when one first vaccine was, developed, that was the inactivated vaccine. So
Correct.
inactivated vaccine, because it's a killed virus. It is the safest vaccine we can say from our knowledge of the vaccine, because we are involved, I'm involved in the policy and implementation giving vaccine. So I know. The second thing is that there from the phase 1 and phase 2 data is available and published from the Covaxin, and it has not shown any safety concern. Third thing, I believe that this safety data, I cannot confirm, but this safety data has been, submitted to the subject expert committee, which we don't know who are the members. Government has to make that public, that who are the members, has been submitted to the subject expert committee, and they have examined it. But only problem is communication. You have not communicated. So I know when Prime Minister is saying, I can understand, but this is not enough. This is not enough. You have to make that available, and there is no reason that safety data cannot be made available. I can understand you will not know that overall around that time it was 22,000. You can say that from 22,000 of the participant, what were the the safety signals coming out of that. Leave aside the vaccine group and placebo group. I know it will not be any significant, because I don't expect any. We all know that Covishield, which is a vector-borne disease, is more reactogenic.
Okay.
I have confidence that only problem is efficacy and the communication and transparency. The days are gone when scientists say, you believe me, we have to communicate with the facts. And what is the medical community asking for? They are asking for access to the data.
Okay, let me bring in Charu Pragya, because she wanted to respond earlier as well. Yes, Charu.
So, Tanvi, I wanted to talk about some of the steps that our government is going to be taking now, because we've been discussing how the numbers are not as large as we would like them to be ideally. So the government has planned a 3-step approach to this. And the first one is going to be using social influencers or endorsements from experts. And that's going to help us in reaching people. The second thing is establishing a national media rapid response cell. And thirdly, it's going to be involving community mobilizers and frontline workers to engage with the community and talk to the community. So I think these step 1, 2, and 3 together will create a lot of awareness, will help us in reaching a lot more people on ground, health workers included, and we should be able to speed up the process of vaccination in the first phase itself. And while we get to phase 2, we already will have accelerated a lot of other things.
Okay. As per Hindustan Times, at Kasarwadi site in Pimpri, which is in the outskirts of Pune, just one healthcare worker turned up on Wednesday, leading to a waste of 9 doses. Overall, Pune city, in fact, has reported 47% turnout on Wednesday, which forced them to actually not hold the vaccination drive and halt the inoculation drive for Thursday. In all, there are now reports also coming of doses that are going to waste because they can only be stored at that temperature for a few days. And if you're not able to use it in those days because of poor turnout, then that vaccine is wasted. In fact, again, as per Hindustan Times, teams from a number of vaccination centers and health officials overseeing the vaccination drive said that at least 1,000 doses of COVID vaccines had been wasted in Delhi so far because fewer people turned up. You know, there'll be other reasons for wastage as well. I also want to point out that the government is factoring in a certain amount of wastage of vaccines which will happen in transport, damage, some do get left over. But all of this is showing you right now that we are not able to go up to the targets that we had prepared for, we had built capacity for, we had planned for, because there is some amount of hesitancy. Yes, there is also in the initial days problems that we saw with the app, but largely those problems have now been fixed. So Dr. Nasir Hussain, let me ask you this question again. Why can't Congress-governed states at least take this issue up and come up with special plans to create awareness to assuage some of these fears?
Tanvi, it is not about Congress government or BJP government. I think the entire the pandemic is being fought by the central government and the state governments and also the people at large. What is more important here is there have been vaccination programs in the past. There have been research centers and laboratories who have prepared vaccines, but none of these events were celebrated as business events or celebrated as publicity stunts. Very coolly, very privately, and without much of halla-gulla, the researchers and scientists did their own work, and the leaders those time, whether it was the Prime Minister of the day at that time or the different health ministers, they never created a publicity stunt or a business model out of a pandemic. What is happening now is the central government has promised so many things, has tried to put up a show on this issue. So it is the duty of the central government to see that the people get enough confidence to go ahead and get the vaccination. Now, at this rate, say if you have prepared vaccine for about 85 lakh people, what will happen to 135 crore people of this country? When will they get the vaccination? What is the plan? What will happen to the free vaccination that was promised by none less than the finance minister of the country, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, during the Bihar election? Even the health minister had promised free vaccination. What is that plan? Why are we willing to export the vaccines when we ourselves are not getting vaccinated? There are n number of questions the government will have to answer. But without going into the details of all these things, I would just like to say that the government, central government, along with the other state governments, prime ministers, chief ministers, union ministers, we all should step in and see to it that the common people in the rural areas, those who are not educated much, should get some sort of confidence where they say we will go ahead and get vaccinated, because unless we get the country vaccinated in a short span of time, it will be difficult to continue with this pandemic for a long time, which has hit our economy, in the last 7-8 months, and we are at the lowest ebb in this country in terms of joblessness, export, agricultural production, industrial production, jobs, etc. and etc.
That is a different matter, Dr. Syed Nasir Hussain. I assure you we'll have conversations on that another day.
Should take a lead. I agree on that.
Yes. Okay, Charu Pragya wants to respond before I go to Khalikur Rahman. Yeah.
First of all, it sickens me, absolutely sickens me, when something as important as a vaccine is politicized by opposition leaders. First, they were saying, where is a vaccine? Now that there is a vaccine, they are worried about the efficiency of the vaccine. There are people who are calling it a BJP vaccine. The Congress people are talking about the vaccine in such sad terms that actually I think they're losing pride in India, Indians and Indian achievement. And it's really sad. I understand your concerns, and rest assured, everybody who's a well-wisher of this country has similar concerns, but the way you put them across sadly makes it seem like you are anti-India. You're rooting for things to fail. Kindly do not do that, because it not just saddens me, it saddens every single Indian who listens to you talk like this today. Another point is the examples you are quoting from the past are normal examples. This has been an unprecedented
Can I come in, please?
situation. This is a situation
Tanvi, can I
which is
come in?
not being
Yes, let her finish her point, then you can respond.
Tanvi,
No,
can I
but
Let
come
her
in?
finish her point. Let her finish her point. Yeah.
Why is there a situation like this before? So, sir, there are no precedents. Kindly do not quote past examples and pretend they're applicable today. The entire world was thrown into a frenzy, not just Indians. And we have dealt with this in an exemplary manner. We are coming out of this. We are one of the only 5 countries who's actually managed to make a vaccine. 2 of our vaccines are approved. Vaccine diplomacy is a big thing. Maybe you do not understand diplomacy. Maybe you do not understand the global community needs to work together to fight pandemics, to fight situations which are going to affect the entire planet. But please grow up. Don't do this.
Dr. Hussain, yes.
See, this nonsensical argument about people being anti-India and anti-national.
Yeah.
This is something the worst that this government has practiced in the last 6 years. No person was called an anti-national. People, those who are questioning the government, people, those who are asking questions to the different people in the government, whether they are from the media, whether they are academicians, whether they are opposition parties, whether they are students or youth. Everyone is being branded as an anti-national. This arrogance of this government is letting this country down. Everyone knows what is diplomacy, but your people should come first. 85 lakhs, there is a plan for only 85 lakh people in this country among the 135 crores of these people. What will happen to the rest 134 crores of people in this country? You are not worried about that. You don't have a plan for that. You are making money out of a vaccine. Let there be a longer debate, so that let me place in front of you what is the actual cost of the vaccine. What is the government asking, why it is being sold at ₹1,000 in the market? What is the government, how is the government making money in the vaccine? See, what is more important is global diplomacy. Everyone knows. Everyone knows how to live with your neighbors. But what is more important is the people of this country. The Prime Minister doesn't have the sense to go and talk to his own people who are sitting around 22 kilometers from his residence for the past 60 days. They are your own people. Is that not an anti-national act not to talk to your own people? More than 55% of the Indian population are farmers. So you are worried about what is happening in Japan. You are worried about what is happening in Switzerland. You are worried about what is happening in Korea.
I'm short of time. I'm short on time. I just want to get a quick
And
comment in.
And who are you people to issue?
Yes, Dr. 1 minute, Dr. Hussain. I got your point. I got your point.
I request all of you, by folded hand, and I am just about to cry. Please don't politicize the vaccines. Any one party. The vaccination was never a political issue in India. We did polio. Everyone did that. And I'm not going to give argument for one or other. I just, I'm just with tears in my eyes. I request all of you, please work together. This is our chance. And then, we can talk about the other once we finish the priority group. As of now, if health workers, they don't take the vaccine, nobody else will take. Let us concentrate and work together. We can always fight afterwards.
Right.
And we can say, but as of now, let us end this pandemic. And this is only by vaccination, not by herd immunity, not by anything else, that we will be able to reach there.
Yes, so, unfortunately, Dr. Naveen Thakur, what is happening is that we've seen this becoming a battle between two sides, being politicized, where one side says, if you ask questions, you're anti-national, why are you raising questions on something which is made in India, you have no faith. The other side says, no, you lead by example. Nobody is willing to talk about how to come up with a plan together.
Nobody is anti-national, and please, the vaccine Covishield is not developed by India. Don't be very frank. It was developed by Oxford. Just now we are having another webinar on that. But please don't do that. We take pride, but there is nothing to be.
But we have to start off by admitting that there is a problem on ground. We have to start off by admitting that those who are experts on the field of science and medicine are saying, show us some data before we can completely go ahead. We have to acknowledge the problem that there is, in general, just like in many other parts of the world, vaccine hesitancy now for this as well. It's new, it's unknown, people are going to have questions, and it is the duty of the government, state governments, to spread awareness. I'm completely out of time. I'm going to thank all of our panelists for joining us on this conversation. I truly believe it simply cannot be left to, oh, when the centre decides and tells us, then we will move ahead, or let the centre come up with a plan and we will implement the plan. The states are equally responsible. This is as big as a battle for the state governments as it is for the central government. Why can't the states collectively make a proposal to the centre to say, let us lead by example. Let the Prime Minister and the Chief Ministers of all of the states, the ones with the biggest of the followings, people who look up to the Chief Ministers and the Prime Minister, let them get vaccinated on a daily basis. If hundreds and thousands of doses end up getting wasted because not enough people are turning up for vaccination, isn't it just better to use some of these doses to give it to our state leaders so that they lead by example, come up with a comprehensive plan of how you're going to spread awareness, how you're going to reach out to the people? Where is the mega vaccination campaign plan that explains to people that these side effects are normal, that the side effects that are listed as per Covishield and Covaxin are regular? You will see those listed even on your basic medicines. Please open your medicine box, pick up the medicines that you very regularly take and look at the side effects that are listed there. But somebody has to come and explain this to people. Somebody has to come and show them the data. Somebody has to lead by example. We need to step up on our speed. The capacity is ready, the doses are ready, but we're not able to give it to the people. Who's going to fix this problem? Think about it. Thank you for joining us on this conversation.